Are you tired of finding spiders all over your house? Today, we're going to show you a simple tool that not only will get rid of them, but is super inexpensive, easy to use, and can give you long-term prevention. Let's talk about why spiders are around and what actually brings them inside. Spiders are always around for one reason, and it is food. They feed off of flies and insects, and that's all they're ever looking for. On the outside of the house, we know that flies and insects are attracted to light, so you see spiders around those light fixtures because they can get a very quick, easy snack. They set webs up to catch them and they'll go and feed off of them. Now, a big myth that a lot of people think is that when it gets cooler, spiders move in. They don't. They would actually stay outside and have no problem with it, but other insects do make their way inside. So if you have spiders inside, it's because other insects have moved into the warmth and the spiders are following them in because that's their food source. So to have any effective long-term prevention against spiders, you need to make sure that you have prevention against flies and insects because that's the food source that is drawing them in. Let's go over the 5 most common spider species that you're going to find in Southern Ontario so you understand their behavior and ultimately how to eliminate them and make it uninviting. Let's break it down into spiders that like webs. The 2 most common spiders that live and build webs are the cellar spider, also known as the daddy longlegs, and the house spider, which is probably the most common small little black spider that you see up in the corners in the webs. They feed off of flies and insects, and they'll live in their webs. So when you're getting cobwebs everywhere, those are the 2 spiders that you'd be having a challenge with. The 3rd is the yellow sac spider. This spider does make a web, but it makes a little silk sac, not necessarily up in a corner. Usually it's not invasive or getting in your face, but it makes a little sac and it will sleep in there and go in and out from there. The other 2 spiders do not use webs. They're more nomadic, hunt, and just look for any sort of harborage or area where they're confined to nest in. And those are the bold jumper and the wolf spider. The bold jumper are the really tiny spiders that jump. Very commonly seen. They will just find a little corner, hunker down and stay there, and they'll just chase around, dead insects or insects that they can catch to look for a food source, but they will not have any webs. The wolf spider, this is probably the most intimidating looking spider that we have. It's big, it's hairy, and it's a pretty ugly or beautiful, depending if you like spiders, and it just spends its time chasing prey. They will not have a web. They will just find a nice little area where they feel safe. Sometimes that could be in a shoe, sometimes it could be under a dresser, sometimes it could just be outside under a rock. But there will not be webs with these spiders. So to deal with these, 1, you want to make sure that you're removing any webs so that there's no insects or anything being caught for the spiders that use the webs. And 2, you want to remove any sort of areas that you think a spider might find comfortable or feel safe in. Outside of the house, things like wood piles are notorious to find wolf spiders and the bold jumper spiders in. Inside, usually it's down somewhere where there's high moisture, like a cold room or a basement, because that's what attracts the food sources in, so that's where the spiders are hanging out. Now, let's jump into some tactics. How can you prevent spiders from being outside and inside your home? And the answer is one thing: removing the food sources. So, first and foremost, around the outside, you want to seal up any entry points. Cracks and crevices around windows, doors, cracks, holes, anything in the foundation, seal them all up. You also want to make sure that you're not storing any wood piles, furniture, or any other things close to the home that provide nice harborage for the wolf spider and other spiders that aren't using webs. Third thing that you can do is adjust your outdoor lighting. Have the lighting aiming down, not out. It will attract a lot less flies and insects. Use it dim, use a warmer light, and if you can, even use motion sensors so they're not on when you don't need to use them. Now, we're going to jump into what is the best tool to get long-term prevention against spiders. So now we're going to go over what is the best tool for long-term prevention and elimination of spiders, and it's this. It is an extension pole, which has very easy to extend sections, and a web remover that threads onto the end. This is your best line of defense in removing and getting rid of spiders. You can reach all the little areas where spiders like to have their webs. Inside, that can be the top corners of the ceiling area and around windows. Outside, it can be around pot lights, light fixtures, around windows and doors where light comes out, and all along the soffits where it meets with the brick. Not only does this remove the spiders and the webs, it's also great because if you use something like a diatomaceous earth powder or other powdered insecticide like a pyrethrin, you can sprinkle it right into here. And as you're doing the removal, you're also putting down a preventative measure to prevent any spiders or any babies that hatch from reestablishing. It not only eliminates the spiders, you'll have that residual to kill off the flies and bugs, which again is the #1 key to preventing spiders in the long term, is eliminating their food sources. Very easy to find, very inexpensive, lasts forever, and works great. Let's go over what we talked about today. We talked about why spiders are around and why they come inside, and the answer is food: bugs, flies, and insects. 2, we talked about the 5 most common species of spiders in southern Ontario: cellar spider, house spider, yellow sac spider, and the nomads, the wolf spider, and the bold jumping spider. We then went into effective methods to eliminate a spider infestation, which would be removing any sort of harbinger areas close to the home that they could nest in, sealing up any sort of cracks and crevices around the exterior, windows, doors, and the foundation, and then doing any sort of adjustments to the lights so you're not attracting in additional flies and insects at night, which ultimately are the food source. We then went into the most effective tool and how to use it properly.